Hello and welcome to this webinar. My name is Majid Hussain, and today I'll be showing you how a teacher would reuse activities and resources within their Moodle course. And also I'll be looking at showing you how to, showing you different ways of importing activities and resources from other courses that you might have access to. As usual, we're using Google Hangouts on air, which means that you can post your questions using the chat feature built into this session. And if you have any questions, you can email me as well. I'll just go back to the first slide. So that my email address is just in the middle there. So feel free to email me anything you might have. And at the bottom there is our Twitter ID. So feel free to tweet any questions you might have, and we'll do our best to get back to you. As part of the demonstration, which I'll be going through later on, I'll be using the course import feature, which is built into Moodle as standard. This allows teachers to import activities and resources from other courses, but the teachers must have editing permissions on the other courses in order to be able to import resources from those courses. So this feature basically allows teachers to reuse resources that they've already created rather than having to recreate them, which essentially is a big time saver. Okay, I'm also going to be looking through and working through a functionality called backup and restore, again, which is part of Moodle as standard. We're going to be basically backup and restore allows teachers to create copies of their courses, and these can be used for backup purposes, or they can be reused as new courses for a new user group or teaching set, that kind of thing. Administrators have the ability to set up automated backups, which are scheduled, and this is normally done for backup purposes in case some important content is accidentally removed from your course. So having a backup of the course is essential in order to be able to restore anything that you might risk losing. Backing up courses also allows your teacher or your administrator to include user data. So user data includes student enrollments and grading information, so any grades they might have achieved within any assignments or quizzes or any other gradable activities. So that's something that you can back up as well in case you want to create like an archive course to provide your former students access to their grades. That's something that you can do using this backup and restore functionality in Moodle. So before I go through the walkthrough, this is just a walkthrough summary, and in the list here we've got 4 different things we'll be going through. So number 1 will be going through and showing you how to duplicate resources and activities within your current course, which is a fairly simple thing to do. The second thing is how to use the mass actions block. So this block is a very popular block in Moodle now. It doesn't come with Moodle as standard, but it's something that you can download from moodle.org. So if you manage your own Moodle, feel free to install this plugin. It's compatible with most of the latest versions. I think it goes up to Moodle 3.1 nowadays, but it's a very useful block, so I'll be using this block as well shortly. And I'll also be showing you how to import resources from other courses using the import feature. And finally, we'll be looking at how teachers would back up and restore courses to create a new course and to be able to use those resources within the course with a new user group. Okay, so I'll just close this slide down here, and we have got a tab open here, which is the home page, showing the home page of our demo Moodle, which we've also used on numerous occasions during these webinars. So on the top right hand side, you can see I'm logged in as a teacher, and I have access to 2 different courses from the home page here. So I'm going to be using the global hazards course again, which we've used in the past. And the first thing I want to show you is the ability to duplicate resources. So the first thing we need to do is turn editing on, which is the button at the top here, and this allows us to make any changes to our resources and activities within our course. So here we have a news forum at the very top here. So it doesn't matter what type of activity it is. You can see there's a forum here. We've got a label just underneath here. And all I do is, if I wanted to copy content, all I would do is click on edit and click on duplicate. And duplicate will create a copy of that activity or resource. And once you've created a copy, you can rename the title of the activity or resource by clicking on the pencil icon. You can also edit the settings. So if you edit these settings, it won't have any impact on the original resource that was within the course. Okay, so you can change the settings here. So if I click on edit settings, any changes I make here won't have any effect on the original file that was stored within this course. So I'm just going to save and return to course again. Okay, so what I can do here is I've got two different resources here, and the idea is to basically, as a teacher, I've got two different groups in this course. So I've got a year 12 group and a year 13 group, and both groups need to have access to this course. But my course announcements I want to separate. So I want to put all my year 12 course announcements at the top and all my year 13 course announcements in this one here, in the second copy that I've created. So what you can do here is you can utilize restrictions. So if I click on edit settings, I can go down to, I can rename the forum name to something like year 13 course announcements. And then if I go down to the bottom, I can enable restrict access and then add a restriction. And the restriction I'm going to add is a group restriction. And this option is available because I've got groups created within my course. And this Moodle site uses Edgelink, which is integration with your school's MIS, such as SIMS or ISAMS or CMIS, and this allows me to basically assign my teaching groups into my course rather than me having to enroll individuals individually, manually. I can choose to import groups, so I'm going to give this group 13A GG1 access to this forum. I'm going to click on this eye icon, which basically means that this activity will be hidden for everyone else apart from the people that belong to this group. So I'm just going to do save and return to course. And here you can see it's been grayed out now. If you want to learn more about restrictions and activity completion, I did do a webinar last month on this. So if you log on to youtube.com/Titus Learning, you should be able to get to our YouTube channel and you should be able to find that webinar fairly easily. So that's how you would enable restrictions. I could do the same thing again on the first one here. I could rename it to year 12 course announcements and add the restriction to make sure that only my year 12 group see this forum. That way, as a teacher, when I add my course announcements, only the relevant students will be able to see those announcements within my course. So that's one way of duplicating resources. So this can be done with any activity. So you can see there's a label here. If I wanted to create a label, copy this label, all I would do is duplicate, click edit, and then click duplicate, and then I can reuse this resource in another section within my course. So yeah, we've got a web link here. Again, we've got the duplicate option. Doesn't matter what type of activities. It could be a quiz, an assignment, a PowerPoint document, a SCORM package, that kind of thing. Anything can be duplicated. Okay, so that's duplication there, which is a fairly simple tool to use. Now we're going to move on to stage 2, which was to do with the mass actions block. So the mass actions block is installed on this Moodle site. You can see there's a number of blocks on the left hand side here, and one of them is labeled mass actions, and you can see these are all the different options I have here. And once you've installed this block, you would need to insert it onto your course page, which I've just done already. If you haven't inserted it, you just need to go down to the bottom and click on add a block and choose mass actions from this list here. Okay, so I've got it. You can see that I've got it enabled here, and as soon as I turn editing on, which is already enabled, you can now see there's lots of checkboxes next to each one of these resources. So without this mass actions block, these checkboxes would not be here. And so these checkboxes work alongside this block here. So I can select some of my resources here. So I've got 2 case studies here. Well, I've got 4. I'm just going to select 2 of these case studies. And what I want to do is I want to basically store these, copy these case studies into the revision section so that my students can revise and look through these case studies. So the revision section is right at the bottom. So you can see this is the revision section here. That's how it currently stands. There's a couple of past papers, and that's about it. There's no other resources in there. There's 5 different links there. So I'm going to copy these 2 resources and put them into the bottom of my revision section. So I've selected those 2 case studies. You can see those checkboxes are ticked, and then I've got the option to either move them into a section, which I don't want to do because I want to keep a copy of them here. But there is also an option called duplicate to section. Okay, so if I click on revision is my section that I want it to go into, and then once the page reloads, I should be able to see those 2 case studies within my revision section. I'm just going back down to the bottom again. So you can see now under my past papers I've got 2 case studies, and I can rename these as well if I need to. Again, it won't have any impact in the original to the original files. So that's how you would use the mass action block, and that allows you to create copies of files by doing a bulk selection. We can also delete files and hide files here as well, and that kind of thing. So it's quite a useful tool, and something that will save you time when using Moodle as well. So have a look at mass actions. Okay, and so the next thing to do is have a look at the course import tool. So again, as mentioned at the start, the course import tool allows you to import resources from other courses. So far we've only copied courses within the same course, but on our Moodle here we have a course called Human Anatomy, which I have access to here as well. If I click on Human Anatomy, there is a really useful pupil feedback survey that I'd like to use in my course, in my geography course, which we can see here. So there's a pupil feedback survey here, and rather than me recreate the feedback survey in my geography course, it'll be much easier if I copy this survey into my geography course. So to do this is very simple. All we do is go into our geography course, or the course that you want to import into, and if we go down to the administration block, so mine is just over here on the left hand side, we've got a series of links, and one of those links is labeled import. If I click on import, I can now see which course I want to select to import from. So the course is called Human Anatomy, which is not in this list here, but I can search for courses underneath. So you can see there's a search field. So I'm going to search for Human Anatomy, and then click on search. Now we can see there's one result. So this is the course that that contains the feedback survey, and I'm just going to select the course and click on continue. And here we have the options to select what type of content you want to import. So all I'm interested is in activities and resources, because the feedback survey is an activity. I'm not interested in blocks, filters, events, question banks, groups and groupings, and competencies. So I'm just going to click on next here, and then the next page allows me to select what type of content, which resources I want to copy. So there's only one file that I want to copy, one resource. I'm just going to click on none at the top here, so it's going to untick everything, and then my feedback survey is down here. So I can't actually click it. In order to click it, I need to enable the section. So at the very top here, I need to enable the section here at the top. Now I can select any of these resources, and the only resource or activity I'm interested in is this pupil feedback survey. So I'm just going to select this, and then I'm going to move down to the bottom and click next. Okay. And then you've got this little confirmation page here, so it shows you what you've selected. So you can see that the pupil feedback survey is ticked, so it is selected. And I'm just going to click on perform import. So in my geography course, I should have a pupil feedback survey. So if I click on continue, so you can see this is my global hazards course. Because I selected the section, it's also included the section title as well, the section introduction, which we can remove fairly easily. But underneath this, we can see all our existing resources, and underneath that, we can see a new activity called Pupil Feedback Survey. So that's been imported successfully. Okay, so that's how you would use a course import tool. So the last thing that we want to look at today is the ability to back up and restore courses. So we've got two options here that we need to look at. So the first one is backup, which creates a backup of your course. So if I click on backup, again, it's a step-by-step kind of procedure. So you select what type of content you want to back up. So all I want to back up in my course is just the activities and resources, because I want to use these activities and resources with another group. So I'm just going to untick everything other than I'm going to enable question bank, because there's some quizzes in here which I'd like to keep in the new course as well. So the idea of this is I'm doing a backup, so I can back up all the activities and resources of this course in order to create a new course and then enroll a new set of users so that they can see the course. So this is something that you might do at the start of a school year. Okay, so I'm just going to click on next. Okay, so here you can select all the different activities that you want to back up. So I'm just going to back up everything and just click on next, and then we get the confirmation of what we're backing up here, and then we can give our file name just up here. So we'll just leave it as it is. Moodle saves the file as a .mbz file, but if you rename it to a zip, if you want to download it and extract it, you can do. So I'm just going to go down to the bottom and click on perform backup this time. So this is going to go away and create a backup of this course. Okay, so I'm just going to click on continue here. And now the next thing that happens is you come to the restore screen. So we're looking at the restore screen here. So we can see, if I go down to the bottom, you can see that the backup that we've made is just over here. So it was created on Wednesday 22nd, and 4/19 is the time that it was created. The backup size is almost around 30 megabytes. And I can download this backup onto my computer as a backup, a disaster recovery backup, that kind of thing. I can reuse it within another Moodle site that I might be a member of. But I've also got the option to click on restore. So if I click on restore, I have a few options here. So I'm just going to click on continue at the bottom first, and then I should be able to see some options here. So we can see that we've got the option to restore as a new course, which is what we're going to be doing. And there's also the option to restore into the current course, which is similar to the course import tool which we showed. So what this would do is it'll basically import all the activities and resources into the course I'm currently in. And we've also got the option to restore into an existing course, so I can choose another course to import all of the content into. Okay, so the one that we're interested in is restore as a new course. I'm just going to choose the miscellaneous category, and I want to choose restore as a new course as an option, and I'm just going to click on continue. So you can see I can only restore the activities and resources because these are the only things that were backed up, and I'm just going to click on next. And then here we can give our course a name, so I'm just going to call it 2017. The same thing goes here. And so this is our course name and short name. And then I can also change the start date of our course as well to something a bit more relevant, appropriate. And then if I go down to the bottom, I can then do next. In fact, if I go back one step, previous, as well as renaming our course, we can choose what type of activities we want to disregard. So if you don't want the pupil feedback survey, you can just untick that option. If you don't want the Earth SCORM package, you can just untick that option. And then once you're happy with that, with all the resources that are going to be restored, just click on next. And then the final step should be to perform the restore, which is just this button here. So as soon as you click this, it will go away and create the course for you. So depending on how big your course is, this could take literally from a few seconds to 10 to 20 minutes really. So our course is quite small, so it's quite quick. So if I click on continue, that will take me into my new course. So you can see I'm inside the Global Hazards 2017 course. So we've got a brand new course here, and if I go to users and groups, there should be no groups assigned to this course because it's an empty course. You can see there's no groups in this course. So it's pretty much ready to go. I can reuse this course with my new year group. So all I would do is click on add groups in my EduLink integrator block if you have this enabled, and then I will select my year group, my new year group, and then choose the subject, which is geography, and then choose my class. So this class might contain 15 students, and as soon as I click add, those 15 students will be enrolled on my class. So if I go back into enrolled users, you should be able to see that there's some users enrolled on this course, and we've also got a group enabled in here as well. So there's 14 students in this course. So I'm just going to go back and just go back into the course homepage. So you can see this course is now ready for this new year group, so they can go log on to this course now. They can participate within these quizzes and activities. So yeah, that's how you would use backup and restore within Moodle. So let's just go back into our slideshow and see what we have next. So the next webinar will be held on Wednesday, the 20th of July. Again, it'll be delivered twice. So the first session will be 8 AM and the second session will start at 4 PM, and that's British standard time. So this will be the last webinar, and then the next one, until we break up for the summer, and then hopefully we'll have one towards the middle or the end of September, and we'll announce that on our website. Okay, just want to say thanks again for coming and joining this webinar, and I hope you find it useful. Again, if you do have any questions, feel free to email me. My email address is just in the middle there, and feel free to follow us on Twitter as well, should you have any questions that you might want to tweet. Okay, so thanks again, and see you next time.